Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Pearlie, may we have the roll call, please?
You turn my mic on. Ogala? Here. Berkowitz?
Here.
Brooks? Bullock?
Present.
Butler?
Here.
Hickey?
Here.
Winfrey?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Here we have first up the approval of minutes from the November 4th meeting.
Motion Hickey.
Thank you.
Second Ogala.
Ogala?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Bullock?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Do we have anyone here for public comment? Public comment? Last call, public comment. Yeah. Okay, so we have a number of miscellaneous legislative reports. You should have gotten in your email the ISACO tract bills. Were there questions on any of those? Okay, so then we'll move on to, there are no questions. We'll move on to the old business, which is starting out with our federal legislative agenda. You each have a copy of that. Is your, I believe there's an amendment to be added to that?
Yes.
Okay.
So we got a list, sorry. So we got a list from NACO of their top priorities. Since we're a member of NACO, I thought it would be good for us to amend it to list the top priorities.
Can I-
Yes?
We're- Business, I think that we're waiting for the reports from our, this would be.
Oh.
From our.
Okay.
Lobbyists on that first before we get into this.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
John.
Take that back.
Yeah. So-
Yes.
So
Oh,
these-
they're,
these
they're
four,
live.
yeah, the first two would be the reports from the lobbyists, and then the federal agenda would be.
Okay,
number
who do we
3
have
of the
on?
state
We have
agenda.
Mac on or we have,
He can hear us.
good morning.
Morning.
John, can you hear me? This is Denise Winfrey.
Yes, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you. Go ahead.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having me today. My name is John Baer. I am a senior associate with Smith Garson. I am filling in for Chris Pratt, who's not able to make it today. So just to jump right into it, Congress has just come back from the holiday recess. Much of the oxygen that is, I'm sorry, I think my video is off. Can you see me?
No, I see just your name.
Okay, that's strange. I'll just keep going. But Congress is back from the holiday recess. Oh,
There we are, John.
there I am. Okay, great. And much of the oxygen in DC right now has been taken up by the ongoing situation in Venezuela. As I'm sure you know, the Trump administration conducted an operation that arrested Nicolas Maduro. So it's largely fallen along party lines in DC regarding who supports it, with the Republican Party supporting the administration's actions and the Democrats asking for oversight and for more information regarding the operation. So that's going to be taking up a good amount of the time of Congress in the coming weeks, whether it's briefing on intelligence, or if there may be a potential vote on a resolution that restricts further involvement in Venezuela. So very much an ongoing situation that will continue to develop. Beyond that, there's of course the looming funding funding deadline, which would be 24 days from now on the 30th. So so far, 3 of the 12 total funding bills have been passed. So there's 9 remaining. They just released a set of 3 bills. Those 3 bills are Commerce, Justice, Science, Interior Environment, and Energy and Water. So they are hoping to pass that as a minibus, meaning a package of bills, later this week. So that would be the first of the 3 sets. They're planning on voting on each of them in sets of 3. The second one has the potential to be controversial. They're still pretty far apart, the negotiators, in terms of what that's going to look like. It's possible that they may need to pass another continuing resolution so to give them more time to sort out the final details past the deadline. But that's the only one that, at least based off of our intelligence, is going to be an issue. The others should be able to get done by then. So really, that's kind of the 2 big focuses right now of Congress this week, is the ongoing situation in Venezuela, and then the sorting out the remaining funding deadline, and the minibus package that is going to be voted on this week. I believe that's all that is important to point out. I don't think my colleague Brett is on, but I'm happy to answer any follow-up questions that you may have.
Thank you, John. Are there questions for John? No. No, thank you. Thank you. We did get Brett's report in our email as well, so thank you very much. Is there anything else that you need us to know?
No, I think that is it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, or afternoon, Madam Chair. I think just barely.
Yeah, it is now. Yes, thank you. Thank you for being on.
Of
Give us
course.
an
glad to
update
be
for
here.
the state, please.
You bet. Yeah. So welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody had a good holiday season. So the General Assembly resumes regular session next week, with the Senate coming in. They're scheduled to be in the 13th through the 15th. And then the House comes in the following week, the 20th through the 22nd. Those are the only scheduled legislative days of January. Then both chambers will be back in February. With this year being an election year, the primary election, as some of you may know, is March 17th. It is pretty typical in an election year with a primary that the portion of the legislative session leading up to the primary is a little quieter. As you might imagine, people tend to be a little more distracted. That makes the second half of the session much more frenetically paced oftentimes. And so those last 2.5 months of session should be pretty intense, especially with the focus being on the budget, hoping that revenue projections generate enough revenue for the state to avoid significant cuts or significant broad-based tax increases, which the governor has indicated he would continue to like to avoid. So that'll be the primary focus, I think, of the session. There will be likely one more that'll focus on data centers and the powering of data centers. That remains an issue to be addressed. And it was intentionally left out of the bill that passed in October. So there will be another run made at that. Whether that gets done in the spring or not remains to be seen between labor and the environmental groups. They're not on the same side on that. And those are two very significant constituents. When they are not in alignment, it makes things challenging for the legislature. With that, a couple of deadlines. The legislature has, in both chambers, a deadline of January 16th to submit legislation to the Legislative Reference Bureau to have bills drafted. And then February 6th is the deadline in both chambers to file new legislation for this spring. Um, This is the second year of a 2-year General Assembly, the 104th General Assembly. Bills that were filed in the first year, so in 2025, are still active. They're still viable. They can be acted on by the legislature. It's not uncommon to see bills that were filed last year be refiled to get a fresh number and a new bill number. So you may see some repetition in terms of legislation that we report to you on. But obviously, as you go through your state legislative agenda, just be mindful of those that drafting deadline and that bill filing deadline to the extent there's anything that you wanted to proactively file on behalf of the county. But with that, that's really kind of where things sit from a Springfield perspective now. Be happy to and just Ann is not with me today because Ann is on maternity leave. She will be back in full swing. I was extremely grateful to her for her timing. So she'll be back by the time the legislature really gets going in February, which I am most appreciative of. So yeah, if there are any questions or any discussion regarding the agenda, I'm happy to participate in all of it.
Questions for Matt on the state agenda? Did he come?
Matt, I'm getting questions regarding the possibility of a graduated income tax or a tax that would impact our seniors. What is actually going on? There's a lot of talk about it, and these are just everyday people who are actually talking about this.
So in order, the graduated income tax, it's in the Illinois Constitution that the income tax needs to be assessed at a flat rate. So we have a flat tax by Constitution. To change that, and if you recall, in 2020 there was a referendum on the ballot. The legislature approved putting a referendum on the ballot to allow for a graduated income tax. And the voters in 2020 did not vote to approve that. And so the Constitution was not amended. And so therefore you still need a constitutional amendment to allow a graduated income tax. Theoretically, you could see, that question being put on the ballot in November of 2026. There would be time to do that. The legislature would have to approve that by 6 months before the election day, so early May. But, the governor was a strong proponent of that initiative in 2020. But he has recently indicated that he does not anticipate making an attempt to do that again this year. So I consider it extremely unlikely that you'll see a graduated income tax imposed in Illinois in 2026. And then the retirement income tax. So Illinois is one of the states that does not apply its state income tax to retirement income. The subject has come up at times over the years. It is generally considered a third rail. I haven't seen a serious attempt to try to reverse that, since I started coming to Springfield in 2006. And I don't really anticipate seeing that done to do that. I think you would need to see really some sort of major economic calamity along the lines of a massive panic or even possibly a national depression And even then, I don't know that it would occur. It's just such a politically unpopular tax among, the whole electorate, but certainly among seniors. And thus far, it has been pretty clear that Illinois government, no matter who has run it, has been loath to cross that group.
Thank you for that. One other thing I wanted to ask you about, recently the RTA Metra came before the board for their presentation. And, so basically, the suburban collar counties and a good part of the state are now bailing out the mass transit in the city. And I have a lot of friends and family in the city. And one of the things I asked the representative about was how they were going to address the issue with crime. And the plan as proposed, he indicated, did not address any type of law enforcement or security to tackle the issue of crime and violence in mass transit. And I brought that up because that has a direct impact on their revenue stream. And the reason why it has an impact is because a lot of people say, I won't take the L anymore. I'm not going to take the bus. I'm going to take Uber or Lyft or whatever. And at the end of the day, you can't solve your budget issues when you have issues like this. And they're very serious issues because throughout the holidays, we continued to see more stabbings, more crime, and in Chicago every day. So we have a vested interest in this now. We're unwilling taxpayers to bail out this system. How can we bring some accountability? We can't turn around and blame the Chicago Police Department. I feel that the plan as a whole, the fact that they completely chose not to address this issue was not very responsible. So is anyone having that conversation?
Well, I mean, obviously the mass transit overhaul bill was a rather comprehensive undertaking that was just passed in October. And to be honest, I don't think you'll see legislation addressing that this spring because it's a pretty common reaction, especially after something as involved as that was, to allow it to one, be fully implemented, and two, gain some experience from how the reform performed before going back in and delving in. If those who supported further requirements regarding public safety, and I don't think they mandated things completely in the legislation, but my recollection is that they do have some level of obligation to address the issue. They may have been left with more latitude to do so. But regardless, I think if there were an ability, if the will of the majority of the legislature was to have greater specificity in the legislation regarding that issue, they would have done it in October. And if they weren't willing to do it in October, they're not likely to be willing to do it between now and the end of May.
So again, we saw what happened with the Safety Act, the issues we continue to deal with. They didn't sit down with law enforcement. They didn't sit down with the powers that are out there on the street protecting us every day. And this is a very difficult situation, I feel, because when you're talking about revenue, you have to look at, you're not going to continue or be able to increase revenue when people are too afraid to get on that bus or get on that train. And I will tell you, the last time that I was in the loop myself, I walked 2.5 miles to Union Station rather than getting on the L. I chose not to get on the L. And people who live there are doing that every day. So we are in a no-win situation if this is not addressed and taken care of. I just feel as I answer to constituents who are paying the cost for this program. And I just believe it's something we need to bring forward and put the pressure on to address. And again, this is not the responsibility of the Chicago Police Department. This is an operation that they need to have a plan. So what do you recommend? Is it something we should put in our state legislative agenda?
Well, that's really more a question for all of you. I think, I guess if you were inclined to, as a board, for the reasons you've stated, seek further requirements regarding public safety be imposed by statute, I think one, you'll need to have sort of an in-depth analysis of that aspect of the bill that just passed, and what, in addition to, is required in the bill that just passed that you would like to see added. And then obviously it's got to be the decision of the board whether or not the board wants to pursue that. I don't make decisions for you. You're the elected officials. But if it's the will of the group to seek further requirements of the transit boards with regard to safety, then you'll need to be specific about what you're asking them to have to do. And then you'll have to get that to, we would need a legislative sponsor and have that drafted. So that's for you all to decide whether or not you want to. I personally, again, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to address it this spring, but that's my opinion for you to consider and weigh as you decide whether you believe it belongs on your agenda. And if it's a statement that you want to make that you're pursuing, that I don't think they're going to do it to try to supersede your responsibilities as board members, just to give you that insight, as in my role as advising you from Springfield.
Thank you,
Thank
Matt.
you, Matt. Dan?
So just kind of a procedural question. When bills go from one year to the next and they change the numbers, what happens with the witness slips? Do they come along with them, or do they just get tossed at a
They get
to the
tossed.
curb? They
Yeah.
get tossed, so everybody's got to redo all that?
Right. So it's the same process. If there's a bill, even if it's the exact same language, it's technically a different bill. So carrying that over isn't something that they do. So if a new bill that you has the same language that you slipped on in the past is filed and it goes to committee and is going to be, and is posted for a hearing in committee, that opens the window for you to weigh in with a witness slip, and you'll want to do that all over again with the new bill number if it gets to that point.
Thank you.
You bet.
Other questions for Matt? No? Okay. Thank you, Matt.
My pleasure. Take care, everyone.
Okay, so now we're on to the old business, starting with the federal agenda. Now,
Okay. So I was looking through some emails that we received, and one of them was the top 10 priorities from NACO. And I sent it to Denise asking, do you think we could consider it? It's their top 10 priorities such as strengthened intergovernmental partnership by ensuring county officials bring our frontline perspectives and on-the-ground experiences early and consistently into the national policymaking, passing multi-year service transportation, a reauthorization bill that supports the essential role of county-owned infrastructure, enacted bipartisan multi-year farm bill, and advance practical, predictable federal investments with local flexibility, promote better outcomes in behavioral health, homelessness, and criminal justice, support counties with non-tax federal public lands, preserve local decision-making and authorities in land use, environmental stewardship, and infrastructure development, enhance the nation's disaster mitigation response and recovery efforts, and strengthen county technology capacity and readiness. I thought that since NACO was built up of nothing but county.
more on the top.
Oh, Los Santo. Finally, maintain election integrity and strengthen election worker safety. I thought that since NACO was built of county board members from all over the country, putting it in our federal, adding it to our federal agenda would make sense, because we're also saying, hey, listen, those members may or may not be on these committees that come up with this. But we do support the 10 top priorities that NACO has because they're coming from the county. I just thought that would be something that would be good to be added to our agenda, and maybe a separate page that says, in support of, Will County stands in support of these top priorities.
Madam Chair, can I-
Which,
Yeah.
oh,
I could always add like just another chapter on the end and just add a NACO chapter onto that if that's the committee's pleasure on that.
Yeah, I think it just makes sense that we are affirming that these are important to us here in Will County too.
so are there any questions or comments about that, concerns about doing that? If not, we will add that
There's two
to our
others.
agenda. Dawn.
One like,
One like, ta-da-da. Oh, that's me.
here she's.
No, that's right.
Did it.
You got
I
it.
did the right one. Okay.
I have no concerns about that. I think it should be the backside of this page though. Cause I would think that should be like
Backside.
before you see everything.
So you want it
Mhm.
up front.
On the back of the last, yeah, before you start with all the separate pieces, I think that would be a good place for it, is to show that
So after
the
table of
overall is
contents,
this,
sort
you know.
of. Speaker? Do next time, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I want to appreciate and thank Ms. Ogala, Member Ogala, for bringing that forward. I think, as Will County, we do spend a lot of time and effort at NACO. And I think it's a fantastic idea, especially as we speak as county board members throughout the United States. I think it does make sense that we join with NACO, and hopefully the rest of the counties throughout the nation will also send it to the federal agenda, because it speaks volumes for our position at our level of government. So thank you for that idea. And I'm not on the committee, but I would hope everybody would support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Then I'll make a motion to amend to add an additional page where Dawn suggested is fine with me.
Is there a previous?
Previous rule. Second, Hickey.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So anything else for the federal agenda? Mr. Butler.
So, I mean, I'm not stuck on the title, I admit. I was a little emotional at the time that I wrote this, so I dedicated it to Charlie Kirk, Commitment to Truth Resolution, but we could strike that. But I basically wanted to add this to the federal agenda. There was two major decisions that were made in the last 40 years. The first one is the Fairness Doctrine, which required that media agencies report on both sides of an issue. They could still give an editorial at the end, but they would present both sides. And as we know, most news stations today only present one side. And that a lot of people who are older used to think that they could watch their news and it would be something they could trust. And increasingly, it is not something we can trust because it's more of opinion news from all the stations rather than real news that presents facts and allows people to make their own minds up. It doesn't prevent them from doing an editorial at the end, but people understand that that's what it is. And then the other one is the Smith-Mundt Act. Okay. I believe now it's the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which was repealing the Smith-Mundt Act, which was which prevented the government from broadcasting propaganda to the people. And the people who wanted to change it said that the people have a right to all the information and that they should get it. But obviously, there are things that are put out to other countries, which is propaganda. And that's why it wasn't directed to the people. But then they decided, well, we would only give it to them if they requested it. And just so you know, a request for that information is a simple Google search. So there is no differentiation, right, between the information when you do a Google search. It doesn't say this is propaganda and this isn't. So it's these two changes in our law that have led us to where we are now in our country, in our world, really, where people watch the news, they want to trust it, they see it, they hear it, and then they will believe it. But they have no other point of view. And we should go back to the way journalism used to be done before 1987, when the Fairness Doctrine was removed, and both sides of every argument are presented for the people. So that is what this is all about.
Thank you. Other questions or
Yeah.
comments? Go ahead.
So Dan, your first one that we have two that you're talking about. You just talked about one so far, right?
Yeah.
It seemed like there was two. It
Yeah,
seemed
well,
like there was two, but.
There are two proposals, but I'm taking one at a time. This one is supporting a reinstatement of the Smith-Mundt and the Fairness Doctrine to strengthen integrity in our public news media.
So you would change the resolution to be titled something like that then?
Well,
Your
that's what
request?
it says under there. I just put, Charlie Kirk Commitment to Truth Resolution. It is a commitment to truth,
Right,
basically.
okay.
Honest reporting, however you want to put it.
Yeah, it should be. I noticed that it's the person who's writing it, which you find if you're in this opinion column, but you should go out and get both sides of the story and report what you're getting from both
Well,
sides.
and quite honestly, the people are to blame too, right? You watch news stations, you feel comfortable with what they say. So then that means that people are going to pay those newscasters to say certain types of information because that's what the people want to hear.
So
But-
by doing this, what would we do? What would this do?
Well, we're just telling the federal government that we would want the Fairness Doctrine put back into place or some avenue of it where reporting had to be like it was before 1987. A story comes out, this is what this side believes, this is what that side believes. And then at the end, if they want to do an editorial saying what they think, that's fine. But that's the way news was. That's the way it used to be. They changed that in 1987. And then in 2012, they changed the Smith-Mundt Act, which was after World War II. They came up with that so that they could prevent propaganda being spread to the people. So if whoever's in the administration that's in control of the government could put out messages to the people to convince them of things that aren't necessarily objective and lead them. So they didn't allow it, but they could still do it to other countries, which that's what they do. So that's what that one was about.
So the question I have is this, because it's not clear to me. You're saying that for the federal government to do what? Are you asking them to control news?
No,
or the
we're
news
asking them
media or
to
the newspapers?
reinstate the fairness doctrine. That
Against
was a
who?
law.
Against who?
I'm sorry?
Against who? The newspapers,
News
television?
media, yeah.
I see.
The news media where they have to present both sides of the story instead of just one. I mean, I know Fox News is going to say conservative things. CNN is going to say, liberal things, You're not getting, so people that go to those news stations, that's what they've come to believe. And that's what creates this huge chasm,
Thank you. Member Berkowitz?
Oh, you know what? I don't think I was commenting on this. But I would
I'm not
say
asking
that,
for that. You had your light on. You wanted to
Right.
say something.
yeah, I thought we were done with this conversation. But I do have a comment now that I've been able to read it. If we weren't to, if this doesn't go in the agenda, we could also have the option of bringing forward a resolution to send forward as well, correct? Yeah, so,
Right, you wouldn't put the resolution into the.
right, exactly, but we have two options, so I think this is a very valid subject,
Thank you. I
and-
gave mine.
and
I had this other one.
it is true that things are very polarizing today, so I think it's a great suggestion. Thank you for letting me see that.
Member Brooks?
And I, Madam Chair, like you, probably still a little confused, and I hope this helps clear up. I would think that, as my colleague to my right mentioned, that there are news reports out there you can turn on and you get different sides. However, I'm not so sure that there's language in a resolution that can change and or influence or change that. I think what does is the infinite wisdom that God gave me to know whether or not to determine between truth and a lie. And I know when I listen to certain, whether liberal or conservative radio stations, I know what I'm going to get out of it. So I guess I'm still a little confused of if we had a resolution, even with the 4 pages I have here, the language that we would include that would influence and or change. I'll leave it at anything here.
Okay, thank you. Member Bullock?
Oh, no.
Oops. Sorry.
Oop. Okay. Try it again. There you
Okay.
go.
Sorry, thanks. I would love to be able to watch one station and get both points of view. But both points of view are still opinion. I don't know, how is this getting me just the bare bones facts of the story without everyone's opinion added to it? That's my, and who's enforcing it? What happens if somebody goes on air and doesn't give both sides of the story?
The FCC,
Yeah. Says FCC.
Do we still have an FCC?
that's who used to enforce it. So I get it, it's different, like it's a big
Hold on, Dan.
statement.
Hold on, Dan. Were you finished, Member Bullock?
I'm not opposed to resolutions and ideas that we would like to see come through. I'm really not. If there's nothing behind it that's going to hold accountability for what we're asking them to do, I don't know that it's going to make a difference.
Are you finished?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Member Hickey?
Thank you. Okay. So I realize that our legislative agenda Oops, did I turn that off? I'm sorry. Okay. Our legislative agenda is kind of our wish list essentially to our legislators. And I think that it is really good to look at the issues that specifically address our county. We don't have a news station or a newspaper that we're running that we could hold to the standard. And I feel like there's a little bit of mission creep here because while this is a great thing, I don't know that it impacts our county any differently than it does the rest of the nation. So I guess that's my concern is there anything about this that is specific to our county? And I don't see that, at least in what I've read so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Member Berkowitz.
So I guess this comment is for Kevin. So Kevin, I'm a little confused. We were just in a committee and I wanted to talk about a resolution and I was told it wasn't on the agenda. We couldn't have any we couldn't have a vote. We couldn't, okay. Is this a different situation?
No,
So explain to me what's happening right now. What happened in the
You mean
past
yes. It
committee?
is different.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, yes, it is different.
Okay,
So
it's on the agenda.
no,
Where
no,
is
it's
it
not.
at?
It is on the agenda.
It is. We're
Where?
discussing the
We're
federal.
discussing the federal agenda.
Well, there's two paths.
And
It's in here?
Kevin, allow Kevin to speak, please.
There are two paths we're talking about here. To your specific point from the previous meeting agenda, there was nothing other than new business that does not apprise the public as to what bringing back that scholarship ordinance. So that's why I couldn't go forward. Here we are talking about the federal agenda, and we've already made one amendment to the agenda. Now, if we want to make this as part of our federal agenda, and that's the discussion you guys are having, that would be permissible. To bring it as a resolution of the county board would be impermissible. So it depends on what you do here. If you want to add it to your federal agenda, that's perfectly fine because you're discussing your federal agenda and you're making amendments. If that fails and Member Butler would like to bring it back as a resolution of the county board, that would have to be done at a subsequent county board meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so do you have another comment, Mr. Butler?
I do. I was trying to practice waiting patiently.
I appreciate that.
Mhm. Okay, so, yes.
Just put next on again. Oh, there you go.
Okay. So when they report the news and they give both sides of a story, that doesn't necessarily mean it's that newscaster's opinion. It just used to be that it was brought up like this group thinks this way, this group, has these views. And then at the end, they have an editorial, which is that person's opinion. So that's the way the news used to be. Okay. And then as far as impact, I find that, almost I find a little irony in we are one of the most, partisan boards I've ever seen. Yeah, I think both sides could use a little information on both sides to kind of widen our horizons and not be so focused into just getting what we want to hear. Sometimes you got to hear things you don't want to hear so you can expand your horizon. I mean, that's why you have boards. That's why you have committees, because everybody's got a position, they express it, people hear it and they're like, I never thought of that. And so I think, fair reporting is very impactful here. I'm pretty sure that everybody in Will County watches some national news network. Yes, it has the benefit of affecting all counties in the country. So it's got even more impact than what we intended. But isn't that a good thing?
Thank you. No other members wishing to speak on that? Let's see here.
Did you have your light on?
I did not.
Oh, okay. I thought you had.
Member Freeman?
Thank you. So I quickly looked it up on my phone and of course I was just curious what they both were. So what I'm seeing is that they have both of these things that have been suggested, the Fairness Act and the MUNT. They're still law. They haven't been appealed. Am I correct?
No.
They're still federal law?
push it. I thought I could say it.
The Fairness Doctrine was repealed in 1987, and the Smith-Munst Act was changed to the Smith-Munst Modernization Act, and I believe 2012. So none of them, as they stood, exist today. One of them is just not being used, and the other one was changed in a manner that gave it a loophole that really prevented propaganda to be spread if you did a Google search. And most people aren't going to understand that when they do a Google search, that the top or second line might be propaganda.
Because my concern, Chair, was that if they're already acts and they're already supposed to be doing these things, that, you know, to put them in our agenda would basically be saying, just do your job. So that's where I was. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Any final comments on
sure,
that?
just, so I think I think that the explanation was just, it said so many different things. So I think what you need to do, Dan, is to summarize it. So the Fairness Act was originally created at one point, and then it's gotten changed, and then it's been changed again. So you're asking that our legislators in DC support truth in this that was changed by the last change in 2013.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I would accept anything that said, I was just trying to educate by writing all this stuff out, but really just as a line in the federal agenda saying that we want honest, responsible reporting where, you know, both sides of a story are given, you know, so that people can have faith in their media again, so that we can all get information and be a little bit more informed. That's all. So however you'd want to just put that in there, because I mean, honestly, having gone to NACO, getting resolutions passed and getting NACO to support a resolution, one thing I learned is you got to leave it loose because the legislators are going to make the language for it. If you make it too specific, you know, they don't have enough to work with. So I'm fine with just putting the idea about honest reporting, you know, however we want to put it. That's all.
Okay. So we've had a number of comments on that, so I'll share my thoughts on this now. Personally, I don't see the value in this. I don't see how any legislation will determine what newspapers, TVs, or whatever report. Their job is to report what they see fit, whether it's true or not. And I don't always like what they report. I may not agree with them, but they report as they're based on their operating standards, their guidelines, whatever. I'm fine with truth, but I don't know that we get that from necessarily from stations. And I don't know that us putting forward a resolution would make us get that. Personally, I would not support putting this into our federal agenda because first, number one, I don't think it's our purview. And number two, I don't think it has any impact or any value that it will actually make a change. That's me. And so others can vote as they see fit.
And for me, I think that this resolution that you wrote is good. I would just like to like maybe just table it for right now. This is a fluid document. We can always add to it later. And I would like to be very, if we're going to put anything into it, we have to be very succinct into what it is. And this is a lot of history. So, but we would need to come up with, you know, something I'm just going to read something. Whereas by requiring broadcasters to present contrasting viewpoints, the doctrine created a more informed electorate capable of becoming well-rounded decisions. Something very succinct we need to have. So if we could look at this and then possibly bring it back. Like I said, our agendas are fluid. We can add an update to them anytime we want. It's just, is it in a form that we can make it be succinct? And it seems like a lot of people aren't sure how we would do it.
I completely understand. You know, when you talk about having effect, impact, not being, you know, distinct enough. I mean, there were two laws that were already on the books and they served a purpose. When they got removed, it opened the door, Pandora's box, to all this, you know, half truths. So, I mean, the information is in the law. It was provided for a reason. And, you know, the fact that it got repealed, you know, and they allowed this to happen is what led us to be where we are today. When, you know, 20 years ago or 30, 40 years ago, I guess, geez, yeah, it's like 40 years ago, you could watch the news and you could believe it. And now you watch the news and you're like, oh, well.
So is that by way of saying you would agree to her suggestion?
I think that makes sense.
That's fine.
Because then we can finish the federal legislative agenda. We can look at that, make it, we can write a letter, a resolution, add an addendum, what have you, which could go with, so whatever members who are going to DC has that extra document, it'd stand out a little bit more. To say, listen, those of us here in Wheel County think it's very important to go back to the standards of reporting that were once by whatever. It's just, that's just my opinion on that.
So no, there isn't. So the federal agenda as it stands now with the amendment for the top 10 priorities is what we have before us for the vote. If
And it was
there's a motion.
seconded, right?
Yeah,
So
There's a motion.
do you want to make a motion to
there's a
do a
motion.
previous role?
A motion to,
Hickey moves.
Yes.
The motion is to accept the federal agenda that's in front of us now with the amendment about the NACO priorities.
but
Okay, so there's, just to be clear here, we have a resolution on the docket. So you're voting to approve the resolution, which would be to approve the.
No, it's not.
Pardon me?
we're not talking.
Finish what you were going to say.
So you're talking about approving the resolution that essentially authorizes the 2026 federal agenda as
No,
amended.
as
on that.
amended.
As
Yeah,
amended.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that's what the resolution says, and that's what we're voting on. right
And that's the motion that member Hickey is bringing.
now. Okay.
But I just have a question too.
Was there a second? Then we'll go to the discussion. Second Butler. Okay, the discussion.
Okay, so Dan, you brought two things forward today. One was the resolution for the truth resolution, which, and then you brought forward, there's a resolution, which of course, we're not voting on that, but you're giving this as an idea, as something to amend to support changes to immigration path to citizenship. So that's the second one. That-
On this current federal agenda.
Yes, that's the second one that he had given us. You're not on.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other resolution was a pathway, a clear pathway to citizenship for immigrants. And, I guess the idea is that, when an immigrant comes to this country, a lot of times they don't know when they will ever become a citizen. And so I thought by offering a clear pathway, like a 10-year wait, have a job, clean record, speak the language. However, I didn't put all that stuff in there, but, let the legislator come up with that. But that would help with the illegal immigration, because right now people come in illegally because it's almost ridiculously hard to get into this country. So if you offered a clear pathway, that it would make it more legitimate and people would be more willing to come in the proper way. And that's basically what that is. And I offer some suggestions of maybe countries that border the US having a little less of a wait time.
Thank you. Member Berkowitz.
Thank you. So as far as this resolution goes, this definitely isn't within the purview of the county. And it also, there's several things here that just is not even reasonable, cannot even be. You cannot guarantee a timeline. Everyone's circumstances are different. And when people enter this country and come to this country, there are aspects, national security. There are so many things involved with this. And I do know family members as well as an extended community that I'm very involved with that immigrate to this country regularly. So we have procedures and we have laws, and you cannot just lump everybody in under the same circumstances. So this is just not practical. I don't think we need to dilute our federal agenda more. We want to make sure our legislators were specific and clear. Their time is valuable. I don't know, I mean, reading this, there's just things here that just can't be done. This is not, part of county government or even Illinois government. So, I would not bring this forward, as is.
Thank you.
And I do have one other comment regarding an item on
Go
here.
ahead.
I wanted to inquire about the racial equity impact statement.
Where's
Just
that? Where is it?
wondering, it's on page 10, if you look on the
We're sticking to the
agenda.
one thing before we
And your
move on.
question is?
Well, I was wondering, why this was brought forward, and what is,
On page 10.
it says the intent is to, we're asking to embed racial equity impact reviews. What is that? What is a racial equity impact review?
It's not on page 10. I don't know where it is.
It's page 10. It's a paragraph called racial equity impact statement,
Are you on the federal or the state?
federal.
Looking
Okay.
at 10 on the federal. But at any rate, what that really means, and you can jump in later, is that you're looking at whatever you do to make sure that you include everybody and that you don't do anything that adversely affects one group over another.
And if I could add, this was the conversation that was, it was a conversation that was had at length during the committee. There was much
Yes.
conversation about it. I
don't
think
know
the same
that there-
questions were asked, but it was
Was
approved
there
by the straw poll by the committee.
a
So,
straw poll?
yeah, so everything that was in here was
Like you just did earlier.
approved tentatively by the committee, so to speak. So,
So a majority in the straw poll
Yeah.
approved
Approved with
this.
this language, yes.
I think that particular one was a
okay.
very strong majority.
Again, I'm just asking, what is a racial equity impact reviews? We're bringing forward, we're asking for something and we ought to know what we're asking for. It says embedding racial equity impact reviews. What are those? If we're going to put it in our agenda, we need to know what we're telling them we want them to do. So just if someone can define it for me, otherwise I don't
So
support this.
the explanation I gave you earlier didn't suffice. So is there someone here who would like to explain it differently than I did?
It's a review, Denise. A review
Yes.
is a process.
Yes, and that means you
Okay.
look at your policies, your procedures, or review, if you prefer that word, and verify that you are not having a negative or adverse impact on one group over another,
Or a more positive.
or a more positive impact on one group over another, that you're not playing favorites. Say it like that then. That's all you're doing. You're looking at what you're doing and saying, have I looked at all the possible consequences? Is this person or this group or that group or the other adversely or more positively affected than some other group? That's just a review. You look at what you do to see who's impacted by what you did, basically, and what those impacts are.
Isn't the review,
So we're taking a federal funding operation, which probably is state, countrywide, and we're pulling this into it ends by saying this builds a fairer, stronger county for all residents. We don't know that. Again, here,
So you would like to
when
remove that?
when we brought our agendas down to Springfield, we were told, I was told by multiple legislators, the bigger it is, the less we look at it. They want specific, no need to pad it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't feel this is necessary.
Okay.
So
Okay,
that's
thank
just my
you.
input.
Member
Thank you.
Hickey?
So I'd like to I don't know if we
We've
have a
already
vote.
agreed that we already have agreed to put it in, but I understand your position.
Okay, so there
Never
isn't a
taken-
Okay, so with-
reconsideration. It's done. This is, it hasn't been voted on. This has not been voted
By
on.
the straw poll, we've agreed to put it in. When we are finished with all the comments about this agenda today, we will vote to accept as is. So at that point, then you would be free to say, no, you don't.
Okay, so I'm just gonna clarify that we have a draft in front of us. It is as is, you take it or leave it. There's no amendments. There's no
Well,
amendment.
it depends on what the amendment is. We already have made one.
All right,
yes.
you've made one amendment.
Right, and I'm suggesting that we remove
Making up-
this.
And I get that.
And I'd like
But
to
the straw
vote
poll
on it.
is that you're the
Okay,
one who
so then
wants
we
to
won't
re-
be voting on anything else either.
We are not on anything else yet. We are on this. The poll is around this table, people have agreed that they want that in.
Did you vote on that, Denise?
I
You weren't
did- I
on the
was not here
committee
at
at
the
that
time. I
time.
certainly-
Exactly,
And I would
So-
certainly support that because I believe
but you can't, you
I
didn't
believe-
vote on it.
I believe that everybody here, everybody in this county needs to be given a fair shot, needs to be treated equally, and that when we enact things, we need to make sure that we don't negatively or positively affect one group over another.
I would
That's my
say
personal
everybody
belief.
here feels the same way.
Then that's the. premise of
Otherwise,
the-
we would not have run
And that's
for
the
this
statement.
office.
So then you support that statement.
Okay, so with regard to this resolution for Will County Board supporting changes to immigration path to citizenship, I have to say, I'm very much in support of what Member Berkowitz has said. I think that, you know, there are some things here that are maybe need to be drilled down on a little bit more. If there was a specific portion that there was an issue with, I could see maybe talking about that, especially if it was affecting our community specifically. But I'm in agreement. So I wanted to say that out loud, Julie, that I agree with you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Member Bullock?
Good. And then I would just like to say something. So I think it would be a good thing for us to make an amendment to our federal legislative agenda to tell those in Congress to make sure that it is very clear the path to citizenship, whether you've come here legally. I've got a friend who's been here a long time and he's just never got a citizen. He's never become a citizen because he's so concerned he can't pass the test. Well, there should be a path to help him get to that point.
There is.
Well, he isn't taking that path. So, but he may not know about that path. I don't know. So it's just encouraging that. And those who've come, we have a friend here on the county board whose mother-in-law came here when she was 7. She was brought here by her parents and they didn't come legally. And she was very concerned about herself because of that. Well, she's been here since she's 7 and she's 52, so it's a long time. So I think it is important to say that we do encourage the federal government to look at our immigration rules, to strengthen them, make everything so that it's very clear, so that anybody who comes can look and see, listen, this is what I have to do. If I came because I was 4 and my grandfather brought me and I didn't know I was even coming, he didn't know you were leaving, what can that person do so that they don't have to worry about being here illegally and they were 4 years old? I think it's very important. I think it would be great for us to have a statement to say that the Will County supports strong guidelines to those who come here to America, to how they can get their citizenship, whatever way they've come. I don't think it's, I mean, if it's there, and I don't think it's readily available. I don't think people know it. I think people are concerned about it, so they don't do it. And so that's just my thought. I don't know what everyone else thinks.
I see your light on again, Mr. Butler.
Yes.
So,
Now it's not.
Oh, sorry, I'll keep my hand off of it.
So immigration is one of the biggest topics in the country, in the world, as a matter of fact. And Illinois especially, you know, we have a sanctuary city, and we have a lot of sanctuary policies here in Illinois. So I would think it's a major concern to the people here in Will County. And, you know, as I have been to NACO, I think four or five times, I get an opportunity to meet a lot of immigrants in Washington on the way. And a lot of them have the same story. How long? When will I become a citizen? I've been here. I've had a job. I've worked. I've been here 15 years. I work. I've never been in trouble with the law. I pay my taxes, but still, they're not citizens. And when you look at people, hardworking people, family people who actually are productive, and they're here for 15 years because they came to this country because they love this country. They want to prosper. They came from countries where they couldn't own a business. And so they come here. And it's 15 years and they just want to know when. 15, 20, we just would like to know when. And it's not one person, it's many people that I talk to. So there isn't a clear pathway to citizenship for the immigrants. So, but if there was, it would make it a lot easier for people to say, hey, we're going to come to America and we're going to do it the right way. But when you have a messed up immigration system that doesn't work, people don't respect it. And that's what we have right now. And I would think in Illinois, especially, you know, being one of, you know, New York, Illinois, California, this is a very big topic. And if you want to, you know, make it a sentence, you know, hey, Illinois, we believe that there should be a clear pathway to citizenship. It won't take up an extra page, so we don't have to worry about making the book too fat. And it sends a message. And remember, people, when we say this, we don't make it happen. There's much bigger people than us that will look at it and say, okay, yeah, they're for, you know, clear pathway to citizenship. You know, we'll take that under notice. And someone else is going to run with it. It's not like we're going to say it in there and then all of a sudden it's going to happen and we got to carry the burden on our shoulders. I mean, come on. This is a big topic. Everybody should be on board for this. There's no reason not to. Thank you.
Member Bullock?
Okay, I'm back. I'm right there with you. I think a little phrase of some kind, if we can get every county to put that concern in their legislative platform, maybe somebody in Washington will finally do something about it. I mean, the fact that that no one seems willing to do anything to fix it, we just want to take citizens away. I don't know. Not going there. But I agree. There needs to be a finish line. There needs to be some kind of, it shouldn't be a guessing game. It shouldn't be different for you. We shouldn't have a gold card that I can buy if I have the money and then it's all, I'm done. Like that. We've got too many things out there that just don't mesh. So I'm in support of putting something in there. Doesn't have to be 45 pages. But I think there's value in that for sure. And on the side, I'm going to say, you, sir, have very big ideas. And I would like to be able to check your name on a box to send you to higher places to do these things. Because not all of them, a lot of them I would agree with you, but we're here. So think about, you know, just thought.
Yeah. So it seems that there is quite a bit of feeling and thought around this. I would support a statement, simple statement about this county supports an improved immigration process that allows applicants to have some sense of how and when they might achieve citizenship. Something very simple like that, that does not go into specifics of long or any of that stuff, because we don't have any control of that, and we don't have anybody that we can reach out to direct that. But we do support people having some sort of process that allows them to know how and when they can achieve citizenship. Okay, so, yes. Isn't how and when the clear path?
Somewhere in your statement.
Is how and when not the clear path?
Can I suggest the following? You know, so the Will County Board supports strong immigration policies that provide a clear path to citizenship. It's just that simple. Is that something that the committee can agree on?
Would you be acceptable to that? Okay, done.
So someone would have to make a motion to amend, yeah. Okay, all right.
Okay, we can have a motion in a second. Yes,
Yes. And
yes.
Mr. Butler has made the motion.
I'll second it.
Wait, you have a motion though on the table. You need a motion to amend.
For what?
To approve.
To approve as amended, yeah,
This,
Oh, we don't,
yeah. So,
could have waited to approve to.
so he,
so the motion right now is for that amendment. Or that statement rather, that statement. So Butler, Ogalla. So now there's a discussion on the statement. Spurkowitz.
So I agree, there is no respect for our immigration laws, especially the people who choose to come here illegally. They don't follow the system. And maybe there's a few people that don't know that we have a process, but it's only a few of these people. I can guarantee you that the immigrant community is aware of our laws, the laws that govern this country, immigration law. So yes, you're right, they don't respect it and they choose to break the law. So in my past years helping family members and community members, I have dealt with the governing organizations frequently. One is called the UCIS. And I have worked, I had a family that was stranded in Peru during COVID, and I worked with them to help get those people back. In addition to that, I've reached out to several congressmen, Congressman Bill Foster's office, Congressman Darren LaHood, Congresswoman Lauren Underwood. That's their job. They do this. They do this. So there is a process. So I will support a statement stating that we want to support legal immigration, but I won't go any further because you can't give people a guarantee. You're guaranteed that you can come to the US, your choice, and in 5 years, you're a citizen. There is not one country on this planet that has a policy like that. And for people who want that policy, I want to know why. Because I'll tell you what, I've been walking my district the last couple of years, and actually I've been walking DuPage County quite a bit. And I'm meeting American citizens who are underemployed, can't get a job, We don't have the resources. We don't have the employment. I'm meeting people who have utility bills that are $500 a month. Water. It's a big, if you're not aware of that controversy, it's out there, American Water. I can tell you dozens of people who are struggling right now. We have finite resources. We have a global world that's changing. Technology, our job markets are changing. Our schools have not kept up to adjust in education so that our kids go to college or don't go to college and can get a good job. So are we talking about limitless immigration? We feel this country should have, no, this is just not practical. These are not county policies. I don't know where this came from, and I don't know what the point of it was, but again, let's just keep the facts. We have an immigration policy. We have organizations that govern our immigration policies. We have congressmen, congresswomen. They're on the front line doing this. So I just want to be realistic and put it out there that whatever we put in our agenda needs to be brief, specific, and factual. So that's going to guide my vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Member Hickey?
Thank you. Okay, I'm really trying to not wade into the partisan argument here. But I don't think I can support this amendment because we're not addressing, it seems like we're kind of glossing over recent events. So while I do agree with, having stronger and more clearly defined immigration laws, I don't think that it's selling H-1B visas. I don't think that it's pulling people out of their citizenship ceremonies and sending them to wherever. I don't think it's ignoring due process. So if we can't address those things, I really don't think we should be addressing this at all. So thank you.
Member Williams? There we go.
Thank you. I'm not on the committee. However, I think that most people would agree that our immigration system is broken. And so if we can do anything that would help to provide a pathway to citizenship, then I think that that's something that we should be in agreement on. And I think that's all that we're saying. So the immigration system as it stands does not work. We already know that, because if it did, we wouldn't be having the problems that we're having. I don't hear any of these Congress people, and I have also contacted my Congressperson, Lauren Underwood, to ask what is what procedure is going to be put in place to resolve this issue. So I don't hear any of our Congress people talking about overhauling the immigration system. So maybe we need to prompt them to do just that. And I think that if we can prompt them to do that, that's something that we should do. And I don't think that we need to get into the weeds with all the rest of it. But basically, this is a statement saying that we think that there should be a clear path to citizenship.
Period.
Right, they need.
We're not, this statement is not time bound. It does not say 5 years, 10 years, or anything like that. Does not say the how. It says we support having a way for people who come here to achieve citizenship. Simple as that.
Can I just say?
And so if that is, go ahead.
So I just wanted to say, so this is just a clear pathway. So if you came to the country illegally, but you want to be here, it should list how you can do that. If you came here legally and you are not a citizen yet, it should tell you how to do that. So it should be encompassing of any way you got here, because like I said, the poor little kid who comes at 4 has no idea where grandma's taking him. So they need to know that. They need to know how they can do that and make it clear, yes, our current system is broken. I don't know why it's such a disaster. And you're right, nobody will address it. Nobody will say anything about it. So it's a simple statement. It's not definitive on anything, saying anything. Just let them know we're concerned about what's going on. That's my opinion on it. So.
You have a change or an addition?
No, so you would have to vote on the amendment by Member Butler and seconded by Member Ogalla. And if that's approved, then you would go to vote on it as amended, right? So-
Okay, so Ms. Berkowitz, you have your light on. Do you have new information
I just have a question regarding,
on this same one?
no, it's.
Okay, so then we have the motion and the second for the amendment. No further discussion on that.
With like your wording. Yeah, with your.
The Will County Board supports strong immigration policies that provide a clear path to citizenship.
And that would be a period. There's
Period.
nothing else beyond that.
Right. nothing
Okay,
else.
so those in favor?
Are we gonna vote? We should vote, because we made a motion to amend second, so now we vote on the amendment.
That's
Yeah.
that's the amendment. We're voting on it.
So
Oh,
we
you
need
just-
roll call.
We did roll call. Oh,
Yeah.
she did all in favor,
Yeah.
same difference. okay.
Yeah, well, there probably needs to be a roll call.
Yeah, because we're gonna have a no. So, Colonel, if you would, please.
Oh, yeah. So you're on now.
Ogalla,
Yes.
Berkowitz,
No.
Brooks,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes.
Butler, Hickey,
No.
Winfrey.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. And then now the agenda as amended.
It's already been made. It's already on the table.
Yep.
Turn her on, Tim.
Oh, she's.
Thank Thank you,
Member
Chair
Brooks?
Winfrey. So I'm not sure on the community development and housing. I don't see anyone here from there.
What's your question?
I had a question, on the paragraph that says opposes harmful reforms to federal housing assistance. I'm assuming that maybe came from Marta, or I'm not sure who who put that in there.
It would have been, yeah.
So my
Second.
concern is I'd like to know what is the definition of institutional investors? The last sentence says, the Will County Board opposes cuts to HUD subsidies that discourage institutional investors in affordable housing, which strains an already stressed housing stock. And the reason why that's important to me is because I don't want to support a policy that I know does not benefit the people who have to live in those homes. For example, institutional investors, they dabble in a lot of markets in addition to single-family homes. They cause a lot of havoc in our subdivisions. They buy properties, they rent them, they cause a lot of problems for us. We have institutional investors in our healthcare system, in our nursing homes. They typically can turn out to be one of the nursing homes where they're not getting the best care. It's about profit. It's not about care. So if we're going to put a statement like that in, I need to know what is the definition of an institutional investor.
Madam Chair. So these were conversations and these were debates that were had already. They were on the floor and again, they were approved tentatively by the entire.
I apologize
by-
because I do not specifically remember
Finish
any
what you're gonna
conversation
say.
about this.
Yeah, so once again, but whether you were at the meeting or not, these were debates that were already had by the
Is
committee.
there any way to get an answer?
Can look it up, the definition, I have it.
If you want to look up,
I can read it to you. This
is that the chair's direct?
Right ahead, please.
An institutional investor is an entity that pools money to purchase securities, real property, and other investment assets or originate loans. Institutional investors include commercial banks, central banks, credit unions, government-linked companies, insurers, pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, charities, hedge funds, and real estate investments, real estate investments, trusts, investment advisors, endowment, and mutual funds. So there's a whole group of people that are included in that.
So because of my
And we
concerns,
oppose- And we oppose HUD subsidies that discourage those people from
exactly.
doing housing that which strains the already stressed housing stock.
And those are my concerns because I have had experience with properties that are held by institutional investors. So I'd like to just ask if we could just remove that last sentence.
You'd have to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to just remove that last sentence. Otherwise, it's a pretty powerful paragraph.
Is there a second
we
to that
wanna-
motion? Hearing none, the motion fails.
Okay, thank you.
So, any other concerns, comments about the federal agenda? In that case, hearing none, approve the federal agenda as presented with the already accepted amendments.
I'll make the motion to.
It's already on the table.
Oh, it's, oh. Oh, so we just need to
Trying move
vote.
to it.
Yep.
So, Pearl, if you would, please.
Ogalla,
Yes.
Berkowitz,
No.
Brooks,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Hickey,
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, so now we're on to the state legislative agenda. In the copy that you have, there are several areas marked in colors. Blue is carried over from previous agendas, so we don't need to actually do anything with that. Say that again, the blue is carryovers, we don't need to do anything with that. Green is already approved. So the only things we're looking at are the ones in red. Red is what we're focusing on. Are there concerns, questions on the type that's in red? I'm assuming that everybody read this before the meeting, since you've had this for a while. Questions, concerns? Not everybody speaking at once. If there are no questions or concerns with it as presented, we can move for an approval.
So just let me be clear. So you would be moving for approval that would include all the green, all the red, and it would eliminate the blue, or the blue would remain?
Blue would remain.
Remain, okay.
The entire, as presented in its entirety.
One color.
I like the multicolors though. We could add purple, that'd make me happy.
So is there a motion to accept as presented?
Second, Hickey.
Approval.
Ogala,
Yes.
Berkowitz. Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Brooks,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Hickey,
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes,
Motion carries.
right. Okay, got something else in here.
Old business.
Okay. So we will get those. So what we'll have now is that we will get the finalized copies, nice them up, and they will be presented so that legislators will have them before we have our legislative breakfast. Okay, is there any other old business for this committee? None. New business for this committee?
Yeah.
The legislative breakfast is February 9th.
9th, correct.
9th.
Jacob Henry?
Yes, at the Jacob Henry Mansion. So that'll be
Invitations.
February 9th.
Yeah, invitations will be sent out, right, starting tomorrow, actually.
Yeah.
So now that we have agenda.
We have an agenda that we can share with them so they can talk about it when we're there. So I have no announcements or reports. Is there any other comments? We have no public left. So we don't need an executive session. Any other comments by members? Motion to adjourn.
Motion Ogala.
All in favor? Thank you. We'll meet again.